Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day as per usual. Again, we're going to do our daily recap video here on the S&P, the markets, the IWM, the triple Qs, and the Dow Jones. So overall, a very light volume day as expected. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the US. A happy Thanksgiving to all the US users who are watching this. I'm assuming most of you are American, as we always cover US equities, but it doesn't mean that you can't be invested in the US markets from somewhere else. But overall, let's get right into it here. So again, very light volume day on the SPY. You guys can take a look. Only 59 million shares traded, right into resistance here, closing with a doji candle, very flat. I don't know if we closed above or underneath. I'd have to check. So if we're going off this trend line that I've drawn here, which is to the dot, I assume. Let me just go back to the previous all-time high. Okay, maybe we can adjust this just a slight tad, just a little bit, something like that. And then we can come back down. And I don't think it'll change much, to be honest. Yeah, it's still at resistance. So technically, we closed above this resistance here, or you could, if you really want to nitpick, you could go on the 1 minute and you could say it's flat, it's right on the price, right? But overall, a very light volume day. And once again, light volume days have a bias to go towards the upside or to go sideways, not down. So right now, we're just gonna wait and see. Most likely, we remain very overbought on the S&P after this massive rally. We'll most likely get a pullback either maybe next week or I think we would say maybe in the first week of December. But overall, we just need to be patient and just wait. NVDA had earnings, and obviously, I'm just making a title for fun. And I said that the NVIDIA is going to cause the pullback. But it was funny enough, NVIDIA did pull back, but the markets didn't. Everything else floated up higher. And you actually had Apple go higher as well, creating a bit of a topping tail. Same for Microsoft, new all-time high. Amazon made another nominal high here as well. Google floated up, made another nominal high, and Meta floated up as well and hit resistance once again. So Meta's at resistance for the time being, and we'll have to see if everything plays out next week or in a couple of weeks. But overall, the situation kind of remains the same for the small caps, and this is what we've been following. So again, the small caps are essentially in this wave 2 here, this larger pattern wave 2. You should be finishing anytime now. Wave 2 is just chopping sideways here. You could actually come up just a bit more. You could actually even come back up to 181, which wouldn't surprise me, right? A bit of a C leg extension. So something like this, an ABC, right? So something like that. So which would not surprise me at all. And then you'll come back down in a wave 3. But again, don't think that it's over just yet. The C leg can extend higher. And if it goes past my resistance box, we have another level up here, which will reshort it later. So you just stop out if you go past a 181.78 essentially on the IWM. Funny enough, the VIX today was getting crushed as per usual. Nothing new there. But the VIX was, we saw some very interesting dark pool trades on the VXX, the VXI, UVXI, and then the UVIX and the SVIX as well. So we actually saw a massive dark pool trade at the highs here on the SVIX, which is short the volatility index. So the lower volatility goes, the more this ETF will go up. It's up already 44%. And again, we saw a massive dark pool trade at the lows, and now we're seeing another massive dark pool trade at the highs, kind of indicating that they are closing their short position on the VIX, and they are also closing their closing their long position on the SVIX and closing their short position on the long, ETFs for the VIX right here. So we had a short position being open on the UVIX all the way up here at 44, and they closing it now at 18, which is a massive gain by far. It's a 56% gain on the UVIX. Again, even more than what the indices go up. So if you really want to get risk on, and if the market's going to pump, short the volatility index, because that's the way to go. And you could even do it with put options, which limits your risk to the short side. And then when we take a look at the market cipher here, again, a bit of a red dot printing today on the IWM for the Russell 2000. We'll have more to follow on this in the coming weeks and days. But overall, I think the Russell could be finished. When we take a look at the 4 hour, we got the big sell signal from the whales here. They are unloading at this area at the moment. We take a look at the daily. We actually now have 2 daily red crosses here, so we could be getting some downside shortly in the coming weeks. And then when we take a look at the 2-day, we actually printed a red cross as well there. And the 2-day time frame combines 2 daily candles together, which give it more significance. And you can see that these signals played out very nicely in the past, right? We've had significant downside after these printed. So again, I'm not saying that we're gonna crash in the small caps, but again, I remain short on the small caps on the IWM, because that's what I see, right? I'm not really trying to short too much the Nasdaq and the S&P, because there's so much buying, right? There's so much strength in the large cap names, and there's so much like I almost have to say like denial and delusion at this point. I was just for fun reading NVDA comments today. People were like on Yahoo Conversations just for fun out of some free time, and people were, so angry. Why is NVIDIA not at 600 right now? This is so stupid. They have such great earnings. They beat estimates. They beat EPS. Everything was a beat. This is so stupid. Why would it go down 2%? I bought so many call options for strike 600, which would mean like a 20% pump in this stock, which would bring the market cap another 200 billion up, right? Which is already pretty insane, because since Microsoft, NVIDIA is already at 1.2 trillion. So again, there's a lot of like mismanaged bullishness right now, I should say, in the large cap names, because they think that the market is very, 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 very bullish, right? But again, 7 stocks don't make up the economy, and they don't make up the market, right? You have a lot of beaten down names that are not moving up for pretty good reasons, high interest rate environment, all that stuff, right? And you can take a look. We'll take a look at some other names here, but we'll take a look at PayPal. And PayPal actually firmed up very nicely today. I actually thought PayPal could have been done for, but it is holding up on the smaller time frames. We'll have to see if this turns out to be an extended wave 5, or maybe just even an overshooting B wave, which could actually bring you to your target, right? So it might not even be done, right? So maybe you're coming back down in a wave 5, but if you're in this wave 2 and it overshoots this level here, then you could even go higher, right? You can keep going up in the C leg, which means it's just an extension of the wave 5, which means this was the wave 3, this was the wave 4. But I don't like how it went past the wave 1 high here. But overall, it's the smaller time frames. You can have breaks here and there, but it kind of invalidates the Elliott wave theory. But if it works, it works, right? But overall, this should be the count. If it should finish here. Maybe coming back to 57. But again, I don't want to doom and gloom too much on PayPal. It's a great company overall. Nothing against them, but they can go lower. So don't be surprised if they do. Let's take a look at ROKU here. So ROKU, bit of an update as well. It kind of stalled out right around where I think it would, right? Basically the double top at 95. We'll have to see if they put in consolidation at the highs here and move higher. And if they do, again, you got levels up here at 111. So the wave 1 can extend higher, and then we can extend the count even further, which would be great, because I don't really clearly make too much of a 5-wave move here on the sub time frames. Like I would prefer like this to be like a 1, 2, 3, and then this is a 4 complex correction, and then you go higher, right? Because then it would look even nicer, right? It would fit the pattern a little bit better, and then finish your wave 1 here, and then come back in a big 2, all right, and then come back up in a final pump towards the upside. But this is individual names, right? If the markets don't align, then sometimes these counts can go right out the window. Let's take a look here at Apple. So Apple pumping up again here, making a bit of a nominal high. Nothing to add really. Just a topping tail here on Apple. We could take a look at Apple on Wave Edge, see what we can find. We actually got a 2-day red cross here as well. But again, it doesn't mean too much until it starts to play out. Once it starts to play out, and then you can really add some significance to it and say like, okay, yeah, I think Apple might be finished here. We got a lot of buying here, and now they're starting to sell at the highs on Apple. We could take a look at NVDA. NVDA got some selling at the highs here as per usual as well. That's where the institutions take profits. It's really nice to see when they start to buy though, because when they start to buy, the price can run for such a long period of time. Taking a look at maybe some smaller names. So you can see PayPal, they always buy at the lows. They accumulate at the lows. And same thing here on PayPal. They pushed it down lower, right? They are accumulating. Institutions can accumulate for a long period of time, which means PayPal might not even be finished here on our Elliott wave count. It could technically keep going higher and higher and higher, right, over a long period of time. Take a look at it, the daily, right? They accumulate for a long period of time, and they may not sell out for a long period of time. Okay, all right. Let's move on. Let me take a look here at let's get off Wave Edge, and we'll take a look at maybe Microsoft. So Microsoft made a new high as well. So this one is in price discovery at the moment. It's hard to do Elliott wave counts it's not hard, but you could technically count this as an entire wave 1, 2, and then you're an extended 3. But you could very well also make it an ABC, just like the market, right? A corrective wave, an expanded flat, and you come back to new lows after, right? Once the market comes down. So you could have multiple different scenarios for Microsoft. None that I'm favoring right now. Nothing that I'm trading at the moment either. Tried to short the double top, and you could see what happened. There's just too much buying. I don't know who's buying, but when I look at the YouTube comments, people are saying it's algos that are selling, right? And then they just said, keep buying, don't stop buying. See you at 1,000. I mean, I sure, if that's what they think, by all means. But I really do not favor this scenario, especially in the environment that we're in. But hey, markets can be detached and go higher for longer, right? And markets can go higher with higher interest rates. Believe it or not, if the yield curve uninverts, which means we have the 2-year come down and the 10-year come up, that will help the markets. That will help the financial institutions, and which will help support the market as a whole. Dollar coming down as well will help support the market. So all these things can help support the market to go higher. So always need to take into account the bearish scenario or in the bullish scenario, which is a melt up towards new all-time highs on the S&P, or a complete breakdown in the S&P as well. So again, right now we're getting a lot of complacency, a lot of people getting on one side of the trade, a lot of misguided narratives right now that people are really starting to follow, and trying to discount almost everything in the market that doesn't align with their views, which is kind of like far left kind of mentality, which never works out, right? Because you always want to hear the things that you don't want to hear, right? That's the most important type of analysis, is the stuff you don't want to hear, because it could be the most important one as well. So right now, the people that are talking all about these gaps, right? We gotta fill these gaps up here, right? Gaps up here, gapped up there. We got a gap to fill up here, right? All these gaps to them matter, but the gaps down towards the downside, they don't matter, right? Which tells you how biased they are on their analysis. And I even seen like CNBC people talk about the gaps that are below. We're never gonna fill them. We're never gonna go back down. This was the generational buying opportunity. Every little dip here is a generational buying opportunity. Like it's a little bit crazy right now. And the markets won't stay elevated forever like this, right? Everything has a pullback, and you just need to be patient, right? And the market, it won't be that easy, right? It won't. The markets may not even give this up just yet. They may even push it to the July highs and double top and come back down, right? There's no saying that they can't do that. But if we do pierce the July high on the S&P, that's going to be an important fact to take a look at. And it could be very possible that we could have the melt up scenario, but I would favor a pullback first. We're only 1% away at this point. After popping up every single day, half a basis point, 1%, 2%, starts to add up. Starts to add up pretty quickly. But we'll keep an eye on the IWM. Very important chart to follow. And if this one starts to break down, then we'll have some serious problems ahead of us. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Tomorrow is going to be a holiday in the markets. And, hopefully you enjoy the time off. Take a break, relax, and I'll see you guys on Friday for half-day trading. Peace.